The forgotten monster. The planet was silent. Silent in a way that made the stars above feel heavy. No birds, no animals, no voices, only the broken sound of wind sliding through the ruins. The world had once belonged to the Empire, but the Empire was gone now. They left behind rusting towers, shattered roads, and deep scars on the ground. But more than ruins, they left behind something else. Something alive. Legends whispered of a beast. Not a normal creature, not something born from nature. It was made, built in secret labs, fed on fire and war. The Empire had shaped it as their perfect weapon, but one day, they locked it away and abandoned it. Why? No one knew. Some said it grew too strong. Some said it refused orders. Others believed it carried a curse. Whatever the truth was, the beast had been forgotten. Forgotten by the Empire, but not by fear. For centuries, no one dared to step on that planet. Until one day, a small human salvage ship entered the orbit. The ship was old, painted with scratches and patched metal. Inside were only 4 people. They were not soldiers, not heroes, just workers searching for scraps of metal, lost tech, and maybe food. They were poor, and poor people do not get to choose safe places. They go where others will not. And so they landed. The air was thick and cold. Their boots pressed into the black dust as they stepped outside. Every step echoed as if the planet itself remembered. The youngest of them, a boy named Aaron, felt his chest grow tight. "Why is it so quiet?" he asked. The captain, an older woman with a scar across her cheek, replied, "Quiet means forgotten, and forgotten means valuable. Keep moving." They walked through the ruins, scanning walls, opening broken machines. The ruins were strange. Everywhere they looked, there were chains, thick, heavy chains that once held something massive. Some were snapped, some buried under rubble. Aaron touched one with his glove, and it was warm. Too warm. He pulled back quickly, but said nothing. Hours passed, and the sun on the horizon burned red. The crew decided to set camp inside a hollow tower. The walls were covered in scratches. Not scratches made by tools. Scratches made by claws. Long, deep, desperate. The older man in the group frowned. "I don't like this," he muttered. The captain shook her head. "The Empire left long ago. If something was here, it's dead by now." But at night, they heard it. A sound low and deep, like stone grinding against stone. It rolled through the ruins, shaking dust from broken ceilings. It was not the wind. It was alive. Aaron sat up, his eyes wide. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. The others grabbed their weapons. Old rifles, half-broken blasters, nothing strong enough for a real fight. The sound came again, closer, slower. The ground trembled. The tower walls shook. And then, from the dark, 2 eyes appeared. Golden eyes, burning in the shadows, watching. The crew froze. The captain raised her weapon, her voice steady, but her hand shaking. "Stay back," she ordered. The creature stepped forward, chains still wrapped around its arms and legs, dragging across the ground. Its body was huge, covered in scars and dark armor-like skin. Every breath it took sounded like thunder. This was no simple beast. This was the weapon of the Empire, alive, forgotten, and awake. For a long moment, no one moved. The human stared, the beast stared back. Its golden eyes shifted from one face to another. It could have attacked, it could have crushed them in seconds, but it didn't. Instead, it lowered its head slightly, as if curious. Aaron's voice cracked. "It's not attacking." The captain hissed, "Shut up." But even she knew something was wrong. The Empire had called this thing a monster, yet it stood there, breathing heavy, chained, and tired. Not roaring, not killing, just waiting. Then the silence broke. From the beast's mouth came a sound. Not a growl, not a roar, but something strange. A word, a single word, spoken in a broken, rough voice that had not been used for centuries. "Free." The humans gasped. The beast's eyes glowed brighter, and it pulled against its chains. The sound of metal snapping filled the air. Dust rained from the ceiling. The tower shook. The crew stumbled back, weapons ready, but hands trembling. The beast stepped fully into the light, towering over them. Not a mindless animal, not a simple weapon, something more, something waiting to be remembered. The captain whispered, almost to herself, "This is why the Empire left." And in that moment, they all knew they were not standing in ruins. They were standing at the edge of a legend. The first encounter. The beast stood in the broken tower, chains dragging against the stone floor. The humans pointed their weapons at it, but their fingers shook. Every instinct told them to run, but their legs felt heavy. The golden eyes of the creature did not burn with rage. They burned with something else. Hunger, not for food, but for freedom. The captain's voice cut the silence, sharp but thin. "We came for scrap, not for war. Keep it back." But the beast did not step closer. Instead, it lowered its head, tilting slightly, studying them like a puzzle. It looked at Aaron the longest. The boy felt his chest tighten, as if the creature could see inside his mind. The older man in the crew whispered, "This thing, it remembers." The beast's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. Then it spoke again, a sound broken, words cracked by centuries of silence. "You're not Empire." The words froze the crew. The captain's grip on her blaster tightened. "How does it know our tongue?" she hissed. But Aaron stepped forward, his heart racing. "We're human," he said softly. "Not Empire." The golden eyes blinked. The beast tilted its massive head again. Chains scraped as it moved, but it did not attack. Instead, it sank down on one knee. The ground shook beneath its weight. The humans gasped. "A monster kneeling?" The captain barked, "Aaron, get back." But the boy's fear melted into something else. Not courage, not yet, but curiosity. "Why are you here?" Aaron asked, his voice trembling. The beast's jaw moved slowly. One word came out like fire. "Left." It pointed with a chained hand toward the sky. "Empire left me." The crew exchanged quick, nervous looks. This was no mindless animal. This was a mind, trapped inside a body too large for mercy. The older man muttered, "The Empire doesn't leave weapons behind unless they fear them." The beast's eyes flashed at those words. It rose again, the broken tower groaning under its size. "Fear," it growled. "They fear me." Suddenly, the ground outside rumbled. The crew rushed to the broken wall and looked out. Something was moving in the ruins. Dozens of machines, drones, still active after all these years. They stirred like insects crawling from their nest, their red lights glowing. The beast turned its head slowly, as if it had been waiting for them. The captain cursed under her breath. Old Empire guardians, they were left to keep it locked. The drones hovered higher, weapons glowing. The humans aimed their rifles, but their guns were weak. They knew one shot would not be enough. Aaron's voice cracked. "We can't fight that many." The beast let out a deep sound, half growl, half laugh. It pulled against its chains, snapping one, then another. The sound of metal breaking echoed across the ruins like thunder. The drones aimed, but before they could fire, the beast roared. It charged, moving with a speed no one expected from something so large. Its claws sliced metal, its strength ripped drones apart. The humans stood frozen, watching as the Empire's guardians fell like toys. The beast fought not like an animal, but like a soldier. Every move was precise. Every strike had purpose. When the dust settled, the drones were nothing but burning wrecks. The beast stood among them, its chest heaving, its chains finally broken. The humans lowered their weapons slowly. None of them spoke. None of them dared. The beast turned, its golden eyes locking on them again. It did not step closer. It only spoke, its voice like thunder fading into ash. "You saved me," it said. "You different." The captain's face was pale, her scar burning red under the glow of fire. "We didn't save you," she muttered. "You saved yourself." But Aaron, staring at the towering figure, felt something strange. Hope, not for treasure, not for survival. Hope for something more. And deep inside, he knew this was not their last meeting. This was only the first. The first encounter with the thing the Empire feared. The thing humanity might one day call legendary. Humanity's choice. The wreckage of the drones still smoked in the ruins. The air smelled of burnt metal and dust. The beast stood among the broken machines, its golden eyes glowing through the haze. The humans kept their weapons raised, but none of them fired. Even the captain, hard as steel, felt her hands shake. They had just seen the Empire's forgotten weapon destroy an army of drones in minutes. If it wanted, it could have crushed them too, but it hadn't. The silence pressed on them. Only the crackling fire of shattered machines broke it. Finally, Aaron spoke, his voice soft. It didn't hurt us, it fought for us. The older man growled. Don't be stupid, boy, it fought for itself. We were just standing in the way. The captain's scarred face tightened, her eyes locked on the beast. We need to decide, she said, her tone sharp. Do we leave it here, or do we help it? The crew fell quiet. The question was simple, but the weight of it was heavy. Helping the beast meant turning against the Empire. It meant risking not only their lives, but the lives of every human colony if the Empire learned the truth. Leaving it behind meant abandoning something that might not be a monster at all, something that could be more. The beast stepped closer, slow, careful. Its massive frame cast a shadow over the humans. It lowered its head, almost bowing. Not enemy. It rumbled, the words broken but clear. Not weapon-free. Aaron swallowed hard. He felt his fear melting into something stronger. Pity. He saw the scars on the beast's body, the chains still clinging to its arms. It wasn't just strong, it was suffering. He turned to the captain. If the Empire left it here to die, then maybe they were wrong. The older man barked. Wrong? Boy, the Empire doesn't abandon mistakes. They bury them. This thing was dangerous enough to lock away. And you want to free it? His voice echoed with fear, but also with something else, hatred, old wounds, old loyalty. He had fought for the Empire once, and some chains never broke. The captain lowered her weapon slowly, her eyes never leaving the beast. She remembered the war. She remembered the Empire's cruelty. And she remembered the look in this creature's eyes. Not mindless, not empty, but tired. She muttered, almost to herself, if it wanted us dead, we'd already be dead. The beast's golden eyes flickered at her words. It crouched lower, its voice trembling as if speaking cost it pain. Humans different, not like them. Empire, chains. You choice. The words struck like thunder. Choice. The one thing the Empire never gave. The humans stared at one another, the weight of the decision heavy in the air. Aaron stepped forward, ignoring the older man's curses. He picked up a broken chain from the ground. He lifted it, then dropped it at the beast's feet. You are free, he said, his voice steady for the first time. The beast's chest rose and fell. Its eyes burned brighter, not with anger, but with something almost human. Gratitude. It reached out with a massive hand, not to strike, but to touch. Its clawed fingers grazed the dirt near Aaron, careful not to harm. For the first time in centuries, it was not a weapon, not a prisoner. It was something else, something free. But freedom was never simple. Above the planet, hidden behind the clouds, a signal pulsed. The old Empire machines had sent a message traveling across the stars. The Empire now knew their forgotten beast lived again, and they were coming. The captain looked at the smoking wrecks, then at her crew, then at the beast. Her jaw tightened. Then it's decided, she said. We help it, or we all die together when the Empire comes back. The choice was made, not because they trusted it, not because they understood it, but because humanity had always done one thing the Empire never could. They made legends out of monsters. And in the ruins of a forgotten world, a new legend had just begun. The bond. The ruins grew quiet after the choice was made. The beast stood still, its massive form towering above the humans, yet it did not move closer. It seemed to wait, as if unsure whether freedom was real or just another cruel trick. The humans lowered their weapons, but the air stayed tense. Even in silence, the beast's presence felt like thunder waiting to fall. That night, they camped inside the broken tower. Fires burned in makeshift barrels. shadows stretching long across the walls. The humans sat close together, whispering arguments. The captain sharpened her knife, her eyes never leaving the creature. The older man muttered dark warnings. Chains do not hold monsters, boy. They hold devils, you will see. But Aaron ignored him, his eyes fixed on the beast. The beast sat apart, chain scraps still clinging to its arms. It did not sleep. Its golden eyes watched the flames, unblinking. The firelight reflected scars across its body, deep cuts, old burns, wounds that told stories no one wanted to hear. For the first time, Aaron noticed something strange. Not rage in those eyes, not hunger, but loneliness. He took a step forward, slow, cautious. The others hissed at him. "Sit down, Aaron," the captain ordered, but he didn't. He walked closer to the beast, his small steps echoing in the hollow ruin. The beast turned its head, following him like a predator might follow prey. Aaron's hands shook, but he forced himself to speak. "Do you understand me?" The beast's chest rumbled, a low growl that became words. "Yes," it said, the sound rough like stones grinding together. Aaron's heart jumped. He looked back at the crew, but they only stared in disbelief. He turned back to the beast. "Why didn't you kill us?" The golden eyes blinked slowly. The beast shifted, its chains clinking against the stone. "Empire kill. Empire control. You, not empire." The words were broken, but the meaning was clear. Aaron felt his fear fade, replaced with something dangerous, trust. He nodded slowly. "You don't want chains, do you?" The beast lowered its head, almost like a nod. It placed one massive hand against its chest. "Want freedom? Want choice?" The fire popped, sending sparks into the air. The captain's sharp voice cut across the silence. "Enough. Aaron, it's not your friend. It's a weapon, and weapons don't feel." But Aaron looked back at her with fire in his own eyes. "Then why is it asking for freedom?" The question hung heavy. The older man scoffed, "Because it wants us to drop our guard, and then it will crush us." But deep inside, even he sounded unsure. Hours passed. The humans tried to rest, but sleep came uneasy. Only Aaron stayed awake, sitting close to the fire, glancing at the beast from time to time. The ruins whispered with wind, and the stars above burned cold. Then, as if breaking the silence of ages, the beast spoke again, softly. "Name," it said. Aaron blinked. "What?" The beast pointed to him. "Name." Aaron's breath caught. "It's Aaron," he whispered. The beast repeated it, slow, heavy, almost careful. "On." The sound rolled deep from its chest. Then it tapped its own scarred body. Long silence followed. Finally, it said, "No name, only beast." Aaron felt something ache in his chest. Even monsters deserve names. He opened his mouth, but the captain's sharp glare silenced him. Still, he knew one day he would give it one. Later, as the fire dimmed, the beast shifted closer. The humans tensed, weapons ready. But it did not attack. Instead, it dragged the broken chains from its arms and placed them in the dirt. Then, in a low whisper, it said one word that made them all freeze. "Trust." The captain's face tightened, her scar pulling at the edge of her mouth. "Trust," she muttered. But Aaron understood. The beast was not asking for food, not for shelter. It was asking for something far more dangerous, a bond. Above them, in the silence of the stars, Empire warships cut across the black sky. Their engines burned cold, following the signal that had escaped the ruins. They were coming closer, faster. The humans did not yet know, but soon they would learn. Bonds are not only made by kindness. Sometimes bonds are forged in fire. And when fire came, humanity and the beast would have to stand together, or fall apart forever. The Empire returns. The bond was fragile. A few words, a broken chain, a whisper of trust. But sometimes, even the smallest spark could light a fire. The humans and the beast sat in uneasy silence. And above them, unseen, the storm of the Empire was already moving. The signal had traveled across the void. Warships rose from their hidden docks like shadows in the night. Their steel bodies were sharp as blades, their engines burning cold blue fire. On every ship, soldiers prepared. They were not told the full truth, only that an old weapon had awakened, and the Empire wanted it silenced. On the ruined planet, the humans still did not know what approached, but the captain felt it in her bones. Old instincts from war whispered in her ear. "We are not alone anymore," she muttered, staring at the empty sky. The older man clenched his fists. "This is madness. Helping the thing will get us killed. When the Empire comes, they won't see us as survivors. They'll see us as traitors." The beast sat in the shadows, listening. Its golden eyes narrowed at the word traitor. The word carried weight, because once, long ago, that was what the Empire had called it too. Weapon, failure, traitor. Chains for disobedience, silence for defiance. It had been left to rot. Now it heard the same word on human lips, and it burned. Aaron broke the tension with a sharp breath. "Enough. Look at it," he shouted, his voice shaking. "It fights the Empire's machines, not us. If the Empire is coming, maybe we need it more than it needs us." The captain's jaw tightened. Her scar burned red in the firelight. She looked at the beast, then at Aaron, then at the broken chains scattered on the ground. Finally, she gave a slow nod. "Then we prepare, because if the Empire is truly coming, we won't survive alone." The night passed heavy. The beast did not rest. It sat watching the stars, as if it could already see the warships falling from the sky. At dawn, the ground shook. Dust fell from ruined towers. The horizon burned with light, not sunrise. Engines, dozens of them. The humans rushed to the broken wall and stared in silence. Black shapes cut through the sky. Empire dropships descending like knives. Their wings spread wide, their engines howling. The older man cursed, his fear spilling into rage. "They're here, and we're standing beside the very thing they came to kill." The captain raised her blaster and growled. "Then we fight." But even she knew their rifles were nothing against soldiers of the Empire. The beast rose slowly, towering over them all. Its voice rolled deep, steady. "They come for me, not for you. You run." Aaron shook his head, his eyes burning. "No, not this time. If we run, the Empire wins. If we stay, maybe we prove we are different." The beast studied him, a boy speaking words that even warriors rarely dared. It saw no chains in his eyes, only defiance. Slowly it gave a nod. "Together, fight." The sky split open. Empire ships landed with a crash, engines spitting fire. Soldiers poured out, their armor black and polished, their rifles humming with deadly light. At their front stood a commander, his voice sharp as a blade. "By order of the Empire, the creature is to be destroyed, and anyone aiding it will share its fate." The humans froze. Their hands shook on their weapons. They were workers, scavengers, not soldiers. But in that moment, they stood firm. The captain's voice rang out clear. "You left it in chains. We will not." The beast roared. Its sound shook the ground, rattled the walls. It stepped forward, chains falling from its body like dead snakes. The soldiers aimed, rifles glowing. The first shot cracked the silence. The battle had begun, and as fire lit the ruins, humanity and the beast stood side by side, not as masters and weapon, not as enemies and prey, but as allies, bound by choice, and ready to face the Empire together. The Battle of Shadows. The first shot cracked the sky. A burning streak cut past the beast's shoulder and exploded against the ruins. Dust rained down, walls shook, and the silence of centuries was broken forever. The Empire had come to finish their mistake. But this time, humanity stood in the way. The soldiers moved in perfect lines, their armor black as night. Their rifles hummed with deadly energy. They looked more like machines than men. Their commander's voice thundered. "Kill the creature, kill the traitors." The humans raised their rifles, small, weak compared to the Empire's weapons. But their hands did not tremble now. The captain shouted, "Cover fire! Move to the towers!" Aaron scrambled with her, firing wild bursts to push the soldiers back. The older man cursed loudly, but he followed. Even fear, could not chain him anymore. The beast charged forward, its roar shaking the ground. Bullets and plasma tore across its armor like skin. Some pierced, burning flesh, but the beast did not fall. It slammed its claws into the earth, ripping stone free and hurling it like meteors. Soldiers scattered, some crushed, others firing back in formation. But the beast was not only strong. It was smart. It ducked into shadows. It struck from angles no one expected. It grabbed soldiers and used their own armor as shields against incoming fire. Every move had purpose. Every strike had thought. The humans watched in awe. This was not a wild monster. This was a warrior, trained, or perhaps born for battle. Still, the Empire's numbers grew. Dropship after dropship screamed from the sky, flooding the ruins with black-armored soldiers. The captain fired until her rifle overheated, sparks burning her hand. Aaron dragged her behind a wall, his face pale. "There are too many," he cried. The beast turned its head, eyes glowing like fire and smoke. "Not too many," it growled. "Enough." Then the beast did something the humans had not expected. It slammed its claws into the ruins floor. Ancient symbols carved into the stone lit up with pale blue light. The ground trembled. Hidden machines, old, forgotten defenses, woke from their sleep. Turrets rose from the dust, firing beams into the soldiers. Walls shifted, sealing paths. The ruins themselves became a weapon. The Empire had built this world as a cage for the beast. Now the beast used the cage against them. The soldiers faltered, breaking formation. Their commander shouted for order, but even his voice cracked with fear. He had expected a monster, mindless and brutal. Instead, he faced a strategist who had learned the shadows of its prison for centuries. This was not battle. This was a hunt. But victory was not simple. The Empire unleashed heavier weapons. Machines the size of houses rolled from their dropships, legs like spiders, cannons glowing with deadly light. The ruins shook with each blast, stone towers collapsing into dust. The humans barely escaped falling rubble. Aaron shouted over the roar, "We can't hold them forever." The beast turned, its voice deep and steady. "Not forever, only long enough to choose." The captain narrowed her eyes. "Choose what?" The beast's golden gaze burned as it looked at the humans. "Choose if you stand with me." The words hit harder than the battle around them. It was no longer about survival. It was about loyalty, about defiance. The humans shared quick, fearful glances. But Aaron shouted before anyone else could speak, "I stand with you." The captain followed, her scar red against her pale face. "Then so do I." The older man hesitated, fear warring with anger. But when a blast struck near them, almost killing Aaron, he snapped his rifle up and screamed, "Then I'll die with you too." The beast roared, not in rage, but in triumph. The ruins shook as it leapt into the heart of the Empire's machines. It tore cannons from their mounts, hurled soldiers like dolls. And for every strike it gave, the humans fought beside it. 4 fragile humans, 1 forgotten monster. Together, they turned shadows into fire. But high above, in the Empire's warship, the commander sent a final order. Deploy the Purifier. A weapon built not to capture, not to fight, but to erase. A blinding light began to glow in the clouds. Something far worse than soldiers was descending. And as the battlefield burned, the humans and the beast realized this was not the end of the fight. This was only the beginning. The legend born. The sky burned white. Above the ruins, the Empire's warship opened like a dark flower. From its heart, light poured out, not fire, not bullets, but something worse. The Purifier. A weapon built to erase entire cities. Not to kill bodies, but to burn history itself from the stars. The humans shielded their eyes, fear tightening their throats. Aaron's voice cracked. "What is that?" The captain's face went pale. "I've seen it once before, on a colony that dared to rise. Nothing survived, not even shadows." The beast stood tall, golden eyes fixed on the glowing sky. It did not tremble, it did not roar. It only whispered, "End." But then, slowly, its voice grew stronger. Or beginning. The ground shook as more Empire soldiers pressed in. The humans fired, ducking behind broken walls, their small rifles glowing red with heat. But their weapons could not stop the purifier above. They all knew the truth. When that light touched the ground, nothing would remain. The older man shouted, rage in his voice. Then this is where it ends. We fought for nothing. But Aaron spun on him, eyes burning. No, we fought to prove we're different. If we die free, not chained. The beast turned to them. Chains still hung loose from its arms, dragging across the dirt. It lifted one in its claw and dropped it with a heavy crash. No more chains. Not for me. Not for you. The captain's breath caught. In that moment, she saw not a monster, not a weapon, but something greater. A warrior, yes, but also a symbol. Something the Empire could never understand. Something humanity would never forget. The purifier's glow grew brighter, burning like a second sun. The ruins cracked, stone turning to ash before the beam even touched the ground. The humans huddled close, preparing for the end. But the beast stepped forward, its body casting a shadow over them. It raised its arms, scars glowing faintly with strange light. For centuries, the Empire had tried to cage its power. Now it let that power burn free. Golden fire lit its veins. Its roar split the sky, echoing across the ruins and into the stars. The purifier beam struck. The world shook as light met fire. The ground cracked open. Towers collapsed into dust. But the beast did not fall. It stood tall, pushing against the light with everything it had. Aaron screamed. It's holding it back. The captain's heart pounded in her chest. Then we give it everything we can, she shouted. The humans fired at the soldiers, pouring in, every bullet, every blast buying the beast another breath. The older man, once filled with fear, now fought like a storm. If we fall, let it be with fire in our hands, he roared. The purifier pressed harder. The beast's body cracked, its armor like skin glowing red. But its golden eyes never dimmed. It turned its head toward the humans and rumbled one final word. Legend. Then it unleashed a blast of its own, a wave of raw energy, born not from machines, but from will. The purifier beam shattered, exploding back into the sky. The warship above tore apart, fire raining down as its engines died. The shock wave threw soldiers to the ground, tearing armor like paper. The ruins burned, but the humans still stood. When the smoke cleared, silence fell. The purifier was gone. The warship was gone. The Empire's army was broken, scattered across the ruins. The humans lowered their weapons slowly, their breaths ragged. Aaron looked around, his chest tight. Where is it? From the rubble, a shadow moved. The beast rose slowly, battered and broken, but alive. Its chains were gone, burned to ash. Its body glowed faintly in the darkness. Not as a weapon, not as a prisoner, but as something new, something free. The captain stepped forward, her scar catching the firelight. She raised her voice so even the fleeing soldiers could hear. The Empire abandoned it, but humanity stood with it. And now it is not a beast. It is a legend. Aaron smiled through tears. He looked up at the towering figure and whispered, "They'll tell stories about this. About you. Forever." The beast lowered its head, not in chains, not in surrender, but in respect. And for the first time in its long, cursed life, it was not alone. Above, the stars burned bright. The ruins smoldered. And across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Whispers of a weapon the Empire had abandoned, and of the humans who gave it something greater. Not orders, not chains, but choice. And so, the story would be told again and again. The Empire abandoned the beast, but humanity made it legendary.